Debt Snowball versus Debt Avalanche. Right now, somewhere in America, two people are both sitting on $5,000 in debt. Same income, same bills, same everything. One of them picks the wrong repayment strategy. By the time they're both debt-free, that one wrong choice will have cost them an extra $1,200 in interest and 14 wasted months of their life. The scary part, they never even knew they made a mistake. I'm going to show you both strategies side by side, run the real numbers, and, most importantly, tell you which one is actually fastest for your brain. Because here's the thing nobody talks about. The mathematically correct answer is not always the right answer for you. Stay until the last 2 minutes. That's where I show you the one question that instantly tells you which strategy wins for your specific situation. Here's what's actually happening when you carry debt. Every single month you don't have a strategy, your debt is winning. Interest isn't sleeping. It doesn't take weekends off. It compounds quietly while you're at work, while you're asleep, while you're trying to figure out what to do next. Most people deal with this in one of three ways. They pay the minimum on everything, which is exactly what the banks are hoping you'll do. They throw random amounts at random debts whenever they have extra money, which feels productive but accomplishes almost nothing. Or they stress about it, do nothing, and tell themselves they'll figure it out later. If any of those three sounds familiar, that's actually a good sign, because it means you're paying attention to something most people ignore completely. The fact that you're watching this video right now puts you ahead of 80% of people who are carrying the same debt and doing nothing about it. But there are really only two strategies that actually work, and they have been debated for years by people a lot smarter than me. Today, we settle it, for you specifically. What is Debt Snowball? Strategy 1 is called the Debt Snowball. This is the one made famous by Dave Ramsey, and millions of people have used it to get completely out of debt. Here's how it works. You list all your debts from the smallest balance to the largest, completely ignoring the interest rate. You pay the minimum on everything, and then you throw every single extra dollar you have at the smallest debt first. Once that one is gone, you take what you were paying on it and add it to the next smallest. That's the snowball. Your payments get bigger and bigger as you knock out each debt. Concrete example. Let's make this real. Say you have 3 debts, a $400 credit card, a $1,200 medical bill, and a $3,400 personal loan. You have $200 extra per month to put toward debt. With the snowball, you'd pay off that $400 card in about 2 months. Then you add that payment to your attack on the medical bill. The loan comes last. Retention device, contrast setup. Now here's the thing. The snowball feels incredible. There is a real, measurable psychological hit of dopamine the first time you close out a debt account. Research backs this up. People using the snowball are more likely to stick with their debt payoff plan and actually finish it. That matters more than most people think. But, and this is a big but, it is not the cheapest way to get out of debt. And depending on your situation, it could cost you hundreds more in interest. That's where strategy 2 comes in. What is Debt Avalanche? The avalanche is what the math nerds use. Same structure, minimums on everything, then attack one debt hard. But instead of starting with the smallest balance, you start with the highest interest rate, regardless of size. Why? Because the debt with the highest interest rate is the one bleeding you the most every month. Every dollar you put there saves you more money than a dollar put anywhere else. The real numbers. Back to our example. Same 3 debts, but now let's say the personal loan has a 22% interest rate and the credit card is only 14%. The avalanche says attack the personal loan first, even though it's the biggest. The snowball says attack the credit card first, even though it's costing you less. Over the life of the debt, the avalanche saves you real money, in many cases between $500 and $1,500, depending on your balances and rates. That is not a small number. That is a flight home. That is 3 months of groceries. That is money you earned staying in your pocket instead of going to a bank. Retention device, complication, tension. So now we have a real problem. One strategy saves you more money. The other strategy makes you more likely to actually finish. Which one do you pick? The deciding framework. The payoff. This is the answer to the open loop from part 1. Here is the one question I promised you at the beginning. Answer it honestly, and it tells you everything. In the last 6 months, have you started something, a diet, a savings plan, a habit, and quit before you finished? If you said yes, and most of us can say yes to that, the snowball is probably your strategy. Not because it's easier, because it's designed for the way human motivation actually works. You need to win early and win often to keep going. There is no shame in that. That is just how brains are wired. If you said no, if you're the type of person who runs a marathon for the first time and just does it, who starts things and finishes them regardless of how long they take, then the avalanche is your weapon. You don't need the early emotional wins. You want the most efficient path. Go get it. But here's what almost nobody tells you. There's a third path, and it might be the smartest of all. It's called the debt snowflake, and no, I didn't make that up. The idea is to use the snowball structure for motivation, but add tiny avalanche micropayments whenever you have extra money, specifically targeting your highest interest debt. You get your early wins, and you chip away at your most expensive debt at the same time. Think of it this way. You're attacking your small debt normally, but that $12 you saved on groceries this week, that $30 from selling something, those go directly to your highest interest debt as extra micro payments. You're playing both games at once. So here's your action plan for today, not next week, today. Step 1. Write down every debt you have, the balance, the minimum payment, and the interest rate, all 3 numbers. This takes 10 minutes, and most people have never done it. Do it today. Step 2. Answer the question. Have you quit things before? Snowball. Do you finish what you start no matter what? Avalanche. Not sure? Start with the snowball and switch to avalanche after your first win. Step 3. Add 1 micropayment this week, even $10, even $5. Put it on your highest rate debt on top of your normal payment. Just start the habit. Small actions done consistently beat large actions done occasionally every single time. Here's the truth. Picking a strategy matters far less than starting one. The best debt payoff plan is the one you actually execute. So pick one today. Start today. The version of you that is completely debt-free is on the other side of this decision, and they are counting on the choice you make right now. If this helped you, subscribe, because next week we're covering what happens to your money after the debt is gone. How do you start building wealth when you've spent years just surviving? That video is going to change how you think about money forever. I'll see you there.